All right, lads, we're back. After not watching a movie for a week, Gavin had to go on vacation again. Oh my God, Halloween's his favorite holiday.
All right, you know what? I take like 2 vacations a year. I don't want to hear this.
Like,
this is ridiculous.
Can't watch a movie.
10 seconds into the podcast and we're already getting slander. Like, what are we doing?
No, but in all seriousness, I want to get this point across. The most anticipated movie of the year, Regretting You, opened up at a whopping 13% on Rotten Tomatoes.
13 is ridiculous.
I showed this immediately to Gavin, and Gavin just goes, well, that's disappointing. But then one man on social media said, this trailer for this movie was a masterpiece. Noah Khan with Gracie Abrams in the background. They clipped off the best parts, and me and Gavin both turned to each other, and I was like, Gavin, I'm sick of horror movies. I'm sick of watching the scary stuff that gets me all anxiety. I want to go see that when that comes out. And I was hyped. Gavin turns to me and he goes, there's a book about it? Oh, let me read it. Reads that thing in a week. And he goes, Brett, this movie's going to be a masterpiece. Not only did the social media video that we watched say, listen, opened up at a 13%. Yeah, that's a bad review, but guess what? It makes me want to go watch it even more, because all the movies that we watch that open up at a 13%, 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, those are the movies that end up being the biggest bangers. 500 Days of Summer, for example, probably opened up at a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, because a bunch of pretentious people get in there with their notebooks and they write, oh my God, questionable acting, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? This movie was an absolute banger. Loved this movie. Loved every second of this movie. It had me locked in. It had me feeling all types of emotions. It had me feeling every bit of my jaw was on the floor sometimes during this movie. And I haven't had a moment. I legit was shocked at some of the way they shot some of these scenes. And I loved every second of this movie. So you can take your 13% and 28% on Rotten Tomatoes that it's currently at right now. And yeah, it bumped up. It went from 13% to 28% because somebody was probably like, oh my God, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I gave this movie a bad review. Guess what the audience score was? 90%. Sit down and freaking drink some humble coffee, because my goodness, this movie, I loved it, okay? It was very Hallmarky. It had some cringe moments. It wasn't perfect by any means. But this is when you watch the trailer, you're like, I know what I'm going to get, and I'm going to love every second of it. And that's what I loved, Gavin. You read the book before. Give your analysis on what you got, because I love this movie.
Okay, first of all, epic intro. Epic intro. You covered everything so quickly, so well. The book absolutely rocked. It was one of those books that I picked up, and it was kind of short for what I read, about 300 pages. And I went, I don't know how good this is going to be. And the movie's like 2 hours long. How are we fitting this little book into 2 hours? And just like in the movie, and we'll talk about some of these plot points soon, but the book starts out and everything's nice and big happy family. They're all best friends. Everybody's good. And then bang, bombshell, bang, another bombshell, bang, another bombshell, until you're just sitting there looking at the open book going like, I don't know what happened? Oh my gosh, wait, no. And then you turn the page and it's worse. I was reading this at work and I remember turning to you and going, I don't think I can watch this movie, dude. Dude, I don't know if I can. This book's crushing me, and I'm 100 pages in. There's so much of it left. That's when I knew it was going to
be a banner, though, because I was like, all right, it's going to be great then. And then you...
Yes. So, Colleen, author of the book, A+ job. In fact, there's 2 other movies adaptations for your books. I will be getting those books and reading them, because this one was so good. This is a rare opinion for me to have. The book was as good as the movie. The movie was as good as the book.
That's good.
I think that about so few movie adaptations. There's two big things that they don't include, which is Clara Grant's steady obsession with coffee and the fact that she hated it beforehand, but the tragedy is what draws her to coffee, which is where she initially interacts with Miller Adams in the first place. So kind of a cute bit to the story that I wish was in there. And early on in the book, Dave Franco's character, Jonah Sullivan, puts them in this video project together while they still don't really like each other or don't know that they like each other. And part of that is what brings them closer in the first place. And it all culminates to a movie that they made together with her and him acting and him shooting and directing and with the grandpa in there and everything that I just wish was in there. But also not a deal breaker. Otherwise, as we were going through the movie, I was like, I know exactly what this is. I know exactly what this is. And they did it so well. I'm going to take you back to your comment in your intro. Mediocre acting. If I ever hear the words mediocre acting when it comes to Mason Thames or McKenna Grace ever again, I'm going to throw a tantrum.
They were good.
Okay? Mason Thames has been in 3 number 1 movies in the country in the same calendar year for the first time since Jim Carrey, the year I was born in 1996. McKenna Grace is doing 6 projects this year, not including Hunger Games next year and Scream next year. These 2 actors are absolutely blowing up in the cinema world. I don't want to hear any complaints. Now, we do have a complaint about an actor, and we'll get to that. But Brett, who was seeing this movie and going like,
I mean,
it wasn't good.
It wasn't. And the biggest thing for me is McKenna Grace and her relationship in the film. Their chemistry was perfect. And like in a movie like this, you're like, okay, the characters, please just don't annoy me. You know, there's going to be cringy one-liners here. There's probably going to be some cringy writing, especially there's going to be a difference from the book, and they're going to try and make a change here to make it more modern. But all the plot twists, and I wasn't familiar, and thank God I didn't read the book, because all the plot twists had me, like, my jaw dropped. And I'm going to spoil everything because why not? I mean, if you're listening to this, like, not, like, after watching a movie.
If this is your first time on the podcast,
whatever,
you should just know we're good at spoiling movies. It's what we do.
How not only, like, they took a modern take to it, but the way they execute every single plot twist was just, it had me like, wait, what? That's how they executed it? And, you know, they had an after effects of her texting, you know, her aunt, and then she's responding, but then she doesn't start to respond. So I'm like, oh, she's just ignoring her because there's probably like a secret, like, or something that's going on that's going to be revealed later on. Then they immediately cut to the hospital. And then I'm like, oh my, all right, they're dead. So they go from being dead. We go from being dead, the tragedy that happens, like her husband and sister dying. And then this family tragedy happens. They go to the funeral, you know, Miller and Clara Grant have like a great moment together. Honestly, super funny because she gets high for the first time. Then her mom shows up, and it's a really funny, probably one of the funniest moments. Another thing about this movie, everybody was laughing in the theater. It was probably one of the first times that we've gone to a theater and everybody was laughing. They were having like comments about the movie. It was hilarious. I saw at one point, you know, a girl like stand up and go, "Oh my God." And it was, I get it. People.
Oh yeah, dude, the people in front of you were all about this movie.
Laughing.
I mean, I kind of wish we could have brought them in as guests because, I mean, the whole movie, like, they found out the affair was happening and it was a boyfriend and girlfriend, and the guy goes, "Oh my gosh, no!" And friggin' Clara walks in on Morgan and Jonah making out, and the girl like mildly screamed, and they were like laughing and everything the whole time. I mean, everybody in that theater was just so engaged through the whole
It was just a
movie.
good time at the theater. And the thing that I mainly talked about, like, and you brought it up for a little bit, but there's so much that happens in such a crammed period of time. I mean, we go from tragedy of death to funeral to dealing with it, and then all of a sudden, Dave Franco Jonah comes up to the door and is like, yeah, it's not my kid. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm just like, there's all these things happening. Then we actually went from, I was getting the timeline wrong. We go from tragedy of death, funeral, they go affair, then they go to it's not my kid in the span of like 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh my goodness. But it kept me locked in. And I was like, I would have liked them to like settle in and kind of take a little breather in between some of these moments. But I loved how it was like full throttle and just sort of accepted like and executed what the book was. And you were turning the page and you're like, dude, what the heck? Like, this is happening in 30 pages. I don't know how they're going to execute in the movie. But the way they executed in the movie was perfect because I was interested and engaged the whole entire time. And then,
well, and let's point this out too. Before we started recording, I mean, mere minutes ago, we were reading through all of our notes for things that we want to talk about, and Brett gets to this note and he goes, that movie was 2 hours? And I went, exactly. It for everything that they put in there, it did not feel like a 2-hour movie at all because of the pacing. I mean, they just hit you with bombshell after bombshell. Everything keeps you engaged, and every time we cut to a new scene, it's pushing the story forward more. I mean, everything was significant. And so you get to the end of it and you go, 2 hours? No, it hasn't been 2 hours. There's no way that movie was 2 hours. And that's after a half an hour of commercials to open up the movie.
I felt like I wanted more. And then at the end of it, I was like, wait, that's it? Because I just wanted it kept my attention and I was locked in. I mean, I was like, where are they going to take me now? After all these twists and turns and how interesting it was and how exciting it was. And I mean, there's like some nitpick, like cringy moments that like I guess we could talk about. But I mean, if you walked into this movie and you were not going to think that there was going to be some cringy moments and, cringy romantic moments, and what are you doing? You know what you were doing when you sat in the theater.
Right. This is a romance movie.
But overall, the connection with the characters and the acting, and everybody had a good performance except for one person that, like, Allison Williams, like, she didn't have the best performance as Morgan Grant, probably. You said, the mom was probably better in the book, but I just felt...
The mom... So, the reason why I was upset, Allison Williams been in 2 other movies I've seen recently. Megan 1 and Megan 2. She plays Violet McGraw's mom in those movies. So we've already gotten to kind of see her in a mom role, but she's not good in those movies either. So when they announced that she was the one being cast as the mom, who in the book, I mean, is just crushed. I mean, devastated by everything that happens. And she's such a deep and emotional person, and everything that she's doing is over analytical, and she's very OCD, and she's got so many layers to her character. And I saw them cast Allison Williams and I was like, could we not have gotten somebody with a bit more emotional depth than her? Because the mom in the book is, I mean, one of the best characters. Like, I mean, I love Clara Grant. I love Miller Adams. I love his grandfather. Jonah, even in the book, is super duper interesting. Morgan Grant might be the best character in the book. Allison Williams was not the best actress in this movie. Yeah. She just wasn't. I mean, sorry.
The thing is, for me, she just felt like she was reading her lines, and she probably felt the most hallmark out of all of them. And she seemed like such an important character because she's having connections with like a lot of characters in the movie, and she's a big focal point on Clara's, how she deals with the situation. But it just felt like she was reading her lines. There was sometimes so like no emotion. And then when she has like the best moment, probably the most like pinnacle moment of like the movie, which is very predictable. Everything is kind of predictable in this movie, but when she gets with Jonah, it's like really cringe. And since she brings kind of no emotion to the role, it's like she's just reading her lines. She's just saying her lines out loud. And then you have Dave Franco, who's a great actor. I mean, he had a good performance in this as well. There was a couple moments where I was laughing at like all the things that he said. I was laughing at a couple moments from Dave Franco because this movie was surprisingly really funny. It's a very emotional book, but I'm sure that because you said it wasn't emotional in the book, but I mean, everybody was laughing and they did a good job of adding so much comedy to like this romance story. But yeah, I did not like her performance. She was the only person in the movie because there is so many times in movies like these where a side character could easily just annoy you, say whatever they want, throw a joke here and there. But I loved every character in this movie. Every single character made me laugh. It was just Allison Williams' performance was just probably the least motivating or least exciting out of any of them. Like every time she was on screen, I was like, God damn it. That could have been such a better scene if you would have just not read your lines and gave it some emotion. And even when she's yelling at Clara, and like her and McKenna Grace kind of just don't have any connection whatsoever. So that was a little disappointing. But they do have some good moments. It's not all bad, but she definitely had the worst performance out of anybody in this film. 100%.
She did. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, in the book, the mom is such a pinnacle character for these connectors. I mean, she is the sister to the girl that died. She is the wife to the husband that died. And she is the sister that is stuck in the middle of this affair that's basically been going on under her nose the entire time. But because they're brother and sister-in-law, she didn't see anything, and it would have been nice if she had a much better performance. The thing that I will say is the book does have funny moments. I like that the movie took so much more of an opportunity to bring that humor in, because I think if you try and make it too serious the entire movie, then it ends up being really cheesy the whole time. Whereas we got a couple of cheesy moments that you were like, oh, that wasn't like great, but it's overshadowed by the fact that 75% of the characters you really think did a good job with their performance. The story is really good. And I mean, how many rom-coms do you know that have an affair, inner family, death, a child that's already been born of somebody that died who ends up being biologically not who you thought they were? Like, that all by itself was so good. But my favorite storyline from the whole thing is that Mason Thames' character basically fell in love with McKenna Grace's character his freshman year of high school. That as the wrap up, the end of the movie, him having all these video recordings because he wants to be a director when he goes off and grows up and whatnot, and showing all of the times that they hung out from when they dated and everything else, that he'd really fallen in love with her the day he saw her in a play in freshman year, was like, okay, this is just the cherry on top of all of the other cherries. And not for nothing, I'm going to bring up Jurassic World again, because, we got to do it at least once an episode. For as many storylines as is in this movie, everything got paid off. Miller Adams' grandfather jokes about leaving him heir, and it gets paid off by the fact that he's telling him he owns air in the building space of Brooklyn worth about $500,000.
Wild.
Checked off. Their relationship, checked off. The affair, checked off when they throw the letters from his toolbox into the fire and basically decide they want to know nothing else about the affair and they're moving on with their lives. Okay, great. Clara struggling with losing her dad and then coming to peace with it, remembering the kind of father that he was, but also understanding that people aren't perfect and wanting her mom to be able to move on. Checked off. The forbidden romance between Jonah and Morgan Grant that's been stewing since they were in high school and she got pregnant with Clara in the first place. Paid off. Jurassic World had the same number of storylines and didn't pay off 90% of them. We got
I just can't believe we're at a moment.
12 storylines in this, and every single one of them got paid off. Jurassic World sucks. I'm never going to be over it.
I just can't believe we're at a moment where like Gavin is comparing Jurassic World to Regretting You. It's just hilarious. But I'm happy that this movie did well though. It was such a fun watch, and it took my emotions everywhere, and I always felt surprised. I mean, it's very stereotypical, probably. I mean, everyone could probably suggest, they've seen a movie like this millions of times, but I think this genre of movies have not been made for years now, and people have been asking for stuff like this, and it was refreshing. To say the least, to have likable characters, nothing be super annoying. If anything, nothing was annoying. I was locked into the story and the development of the characters and how they were going to resolve all these issues right from the get-go. And the way they executed everything was perfect. I mean, when they executed Jonah and Morgan's, when they got together for the first time, and then Clara just walks in. I mean, they executed that so fast and perfect, and did it in a one shot. It was awesome. I my jaw was on the floor. I was like, oh my God. It felt like I was actually there, which is just insane. But how they execute all these events just happening, one after another, I thought was the best part of the movie. And like you said, everything gets paid off. And, I felt this movie did not feel like 2 hours. It doesn't feel like it's boring. There's certain movies that we've watched where I'm like, oh my God, can you just end already? We're
still in the movie theater. Come on,
storyline. We're still doing this random stuff. For example, like Him. Him is one of those movies where I'm like, oh my God, this movie is just going on and on and on. But this movie.
Yeah, this movie felt like it was about half the time of Him, and I actually could have sat through another half an hour of it. Like, I really could have.
Damn, that's it? And then you just told me it's 2 hours, and I was like, wait, what? I thought it was 90 minutes. But
right.
It was great.
I even got to the end of the book, and I was like, I want to see them go off to college. Let's see them at film school. Let's see the development of their relationship. Can I see Jonah and Morgan get married? Could we even look way into the future and seeing Clara and Miller get married? Like, give me little snippets. I'm chomping at the bit here. Like, come on, that can't be all of the movie. And it's 2 hours. I don't need more than 2 hours. But like, if they had come out and said that the movie was 2.5 hours and they were releasing an extended release, I'm there. I'm watching it. I'm doing it. Let's go. I'm here for it.
I'm cracked up because I cannot believe this movie. Because I thought when it debuted at 13% that people were just not going to come to the theater. The theater was pretty packed. It wasn't packed, but for what we've got, there's been multiple times where it's just us in the theater, and I'm basically screaming at what's going on in the movie because nobody's in the theater. But there was so many people. There was at least like 20 people in the theater with us. And everybody was laughing. Everybody was locked in. There's certain parts where some people thought this moment was funnier than the other. And it was great. I thought it was a really good movie. And it surprised me for sure because you watch the trailer. It's perfect. They hit all the notes of, a stereotypical like Hallmark type movie, a rom-com, like a romantic movie. They hit every single note you could possibly hit in that trailer. And me and you both turned to each other and we're like, we're watching that movie. No matter what, we are changing up the pace. We've been watching horror movies for pretty much since September to October. We've been watching horror movies and they've all been great. To be honest, from the summer. And they've all been great, but I was like, I need a change of pace. And this was the perfect change.
Yeah, palate cleanser. It was a perfect
change of pace. And listen, I truly believe that McKenna Grace and Mason Thames are going to be the darlings of Hollywood for like the next 10 years. They're going to get so many roles
Absolutely.
together. Even in the press tour of this movie, they were talking about, oh, yeah, you can be Robin. And then who's Robin's love interest in Teen Titans? Oh, my God. Why am I forgetting the character's name? It's okay. But they want...
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of their name either. But yeah, I mean, they got fan cast for that. They got fan cast for Rapunzel and Flynn Rider for the live action Tangled. Like... I mean, and not for nothing, we already know Mason Thames is good at live action remakes because How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah. Oh, and fun note, because we're still talking about Mason Thames, Regretting You actually overtook Black Phone 2, his other movie that released within this time period, for the number one spot. So Mason Thames is just competing with himself to see which one of his movies is going to be at number one or number two. Black Phone held it for a week. Regretting You's now held it for a week. It kind of impressed, dude. I
think he could play a comic book character, whether it's Marvel or DC. I just feel like he would be a good superhero character. And I know we say that for everyone. Pretty much everyone, as soon as they kind of hit their breakout, whether it be like he's having, for example, 3 straight movies where he's had really solid performances, and he's done so many different genres, a horror genre, a romantic genre, and then a funny sort of comedy animated remake. I would love to see him in a Marvel movie or play some sort of comic book character that he either looks like, resembles, or is like funny and quippy. Because he was hilarious in this movie too. And I just loved his character, and I loved the way he portrayed his character. It was spot on. I've said it like a million times, but there was some cringy moments where I'm like, oh my God, that probably could have been executed a little better. But you're just going to get that with these types of romantic movies. But I would love to see Mason Thames as a Marvel or DC character. I'm sure he's going to be getting a lot of calls from Marvel because they probably need some help, whether it be, having good actors or just good characters in general. But yeah, I would love to see him as a comic book character. And I think McKenna Grace, I mean, she's been, a child actor for so many years now. But I'm glad to see her, obviously grown up and doing more mature stuff, but getting bigger roles where she's been in some crazy child acting roles where like she is definitely the main character of the story. But I mean, the fact that she's going to be in all of these movies that you listed for 2025 and 2026, and she's going to be a part of the Hunger Games franchise. She's a perfect Hunger Games actress. So,
she's going to be so good. I just finished the book before Regretting You, and I know which character she's going to play. We won't dive into it too deep here. This performance tells me she's going to kill it in that role. It's going to be so perfect. I mean, she's the best casting for that character. And we'll get on that when we get to Hunger Games, which we will eventually, but that's next year, so we won't worry about it. I'm going to hit you with a surprise question. Didn't put it in the doc. It's not listed anywhere, so I'm sorry you're a little unprepared. But I thought about it halfway through, so you got to give me a little bit of a break here.
What is it?
We watched another movie earlier this year that was of a similar genre. So which one do you think is better overall? A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey or Regretting You?
It actually outclassed it. I'm sorry. I mean, I loved Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Don't get me wrong. And I thought it wasn't as bad as what the critics say. For sure it wasn't as, people absolutely slammed Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. But I think I like the pacing of this movie, of Regretting You. Regretting You is just, they throw a ton of things at you, and it's 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I am locked in the whole entire time. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year, to be honest. It is so funny. It was funny. It was fun. And if you just take I would say there's maybe like 2 minutes of cringy moments. It's damn near a perfect rom-com. And if you just elevate if God damn it, if Allison Williams had just a slightly better performance, this movie would have been perfect. It would have been held up there as like one of the best rom-coms, in the 2000s or whatever you want to say. Like it was a Fault in Our Stars level movie, in my opinion, because when I'm talking about book adaptations to movies, and that's a good topic to talk about. I mean, like because I'm just starting to read books and, more regularly and stuff, because I'm reading Project Hail Mary right now, for example. Cannot wait to watch the movie. Ryan Gosling, perfect casting for that. That movie is going to be amazing. Can't believe it's obviously going to get overshadowed by some of the movies that are going to be coming out in 2026. But I mean, when we're talking about book adaptations to movies, I think I'm probably going to read the book at some point. But hearing you talk about it, because you love books, you've read so many books, and you're a big Harry Potter fan. Hearing you say that from a book to movie adaptation perspective, it was good. I have full confidence that it was a good adaptation. So I think it's up there with Fault in Our Stars, with people loving the movie and loving the book just as much.
I agree. I think it's by far one of my favorite, and as soon as it comes out on streaming, on DVD, on whatever, I'm getting it. I watch The Fault in Our Stars plenty. I also watch That Awkward Moment with Michael B. Jordan and Zac Efron. Like, these are comfort movies for me. So 1000% when this comes out on DVD, I'm swiping the disc. I know nobody uses DVDs anymore. I do. I'm getting it. I just am. It was so good. Now, which one do you think is going to hold up better, Regretting You or A24's Eternal?
God. When we saw
that's the real tough question.
Eternal is going to be possibly one of the best romantic movies ever, I think, because
I can't wait. I'm so excited for that film.
Not only is it backed by A24, and A24, not everything hits for A24. I mean, we do praise the studio a lot, but the thing that we love about A24 the most is it probably takes the most chances out of any studio. And the fact that A24 lives on its own, and it's gotten this identity of, let's take the biggest chances we can. We're going to get a bunch of genres, the craziest storylines, and we're just going to throw it at the audience's faces and see what they like. And people have connected with A24 and have loved their movies. I truly believe with the genres that they've chosen and the story choices that they've chosen and the creative decisions, I think this movie has the potential to be possibly one of the best movies of the year. And if it's already getting hyped up as one of the best movies of the year, to be honest. I mean, I thought this movie was going to come out in the summer, but coming out in Thanksgiving, around that time when everybody's off, I don't think people might not go to the theaters to go see it, but we are, and I cannot wait to see it.
Oh, we are.
We
will be going to that one.
There's only been a few times where I've gone to the movies on like Christmas and Thanksgiving, but every single time it's been enjoyable. So I honestly might take in the ender and go to the movies in Thanksgiving and Christmas. You never know. But I'm excited.
Hey, we're both in town.
I'm excited to see Eternity because I love the concept. I love it's a character-driven story. I love that it's a rom-com. It could be possibly the greatest rom-com ever, to be honest.
My thought on it is About Time for me is maybe one of the best rom-coms 100%. Ever of all time.
I'm saying this has potential. I do that all the time.
The chops to compete with About Time. About Time's maybe my all-time favorite rom-com movie, period. Eternity might best it. And that's a tough thing for me to say because I think I've seen About Time like 50 times. And I'm going to watch it again soon.
We'll see. About Time.
We'll see. It's upcoming soon.
Damn near perfect.
Oh, it for me, it is perfect. I loved that movie A to Z from the first second to the last. But since that's upcoming, what is your score for Regretting You?
I'm gonna give it an 8.8. An 8.8 And that's a little bit above the audience score for like, you could just look at it as an 88%. I truly love this movie. I thought it was a great adaptation from the book. Haven't read the book, but I already know you talking about it gives me reassurance to go read the book and that I'm going to be satisfied, maybe even more satisfied than I was watching the movie. Because probably the books, what I'm starting to figure out is that the books are a little bit better than the movies, usually every time, because you're able to get more information.
The biggest thing for me is that you can hear a lot of the internal dialogue, and it gives you a deeper understanding of the character. So like when I'm watching this movie, I know what's going on in Morgan's head. I know what's going on in Clara's head. Well, to have that dialogue be out loud would be awkward for a movie. But having the context of the book, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is great. And the way they're acting depicts what they're feeling perfectly.
Besides maybe one bad performance, and it wasn't even a bad performance. It was more or less, I liked the movie so much. I wish she just did a better job. You know, I talked to you about one moment where, for example, okay, there's a moment in this movie where Claire's about to go get drunk, you know, and then she goes and visits her aunt and dad, you know, to reminisce and sort of mourn their deaths. But then there's like a random cutaway of Morgan, and she just goes, really? They just drived off? And then it cuts back to Clara and her friend Lexi. You gotta cut that stuff out. What are we doing? That's a simple cutout. But besides the point, that's like one of my little nitpicks. Great movie. And everybody that gave this a 13% or lower than a 25%, you all have made the biggest mistakes of your careers, because nobody's going to take you credible for any of this genre anymore. You know, when you go to see Eternity and you probably give that a whopping great review, we all know you're probably pretentious. I don't care. You know, I'm kind of insulting people, but like at this point, but I honestly don't care. This was a awesome movie, great for movie fans. It got people into the theater. There's a reason why this movie is #1 right now. People have been wanting movies like this. You know, if there's a lot of romantics books out there that are similar to this, make it into a movie. I told you, I said, why don't they make more movies based on books now? And I mean, we're starting to, at least I'm starting to see in trailers and upcoming movies that are coming out. But man, this movie, I loved it. And it kept me locked in. It's a little over-exaggerated sometimes, where I'm like, what? This is happening all at once in the span of like 5 minutes? But I loved it. It was awesome. And it kept me locked in. Didn't feel like 2 hours at all. Felt like 90 minutes. And it left me wanting more. You know, I wanted to see these characters when they grow up and we're in college. So if they could make a second book and, you know, come out with a second movie, that would be amazing too. But
I'll start writing Colleen Hoover now, because as it turns out, I'm going to be getting like 3 of her books, because 2 of the trailers that we've seen recently are based on a book by Colleen Hoover. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, if she's just going to write everything that's going to be awesome in theaters, I may as well read everything she's written. So I'm just going to send her a quick letter and, hey, we as large fans were wondering if you could write the sequel, because we need to read it and watch it.
So good. Good. Loved it.
It was great. I'm giving it a 9.2.
Yes.
The reason I'm giving it a 9.2 is this is the movie I was waiting for. When we saw this trailer, this is what I wanted it to be. When I read the book, this is what I wanted it to be. Despite all the disappointments and the slight heart palpitations that I've been getting, because everybody was saying this movie sucks, and I love Mason Thames. He's such a good actor. Love McKenna Grace. She's a great actor. Love Dave Franco, even though he was in the weird body morphing video earlier this year. I'm just putting that to the side. Like, don't even care. He's a great actor. So to see it be executed like this was so good. And I've wanted a movie like this, a story like this, that makes you feel anxious, happy,
it makes
sad,
you locked
in the moment, in the romances, and devastated when it's devastating. And this movie did that. And Allison Williams, we've been harping on you a lot. your whole performance was not bad. I just needed you to step up in a few areas, but I also like the Megan movies. And I've gotten kind of used to ignoring the sort of weird, cringy things she does in those movies, and so I'm a bit in practice. And so for me, it wasn't as big of a deal. It still was super disappointing because Morgan in the book is so much better. But overall, it doesn't ruin the movie. It doesn't ruin the story. It doesn't take me out of it to a point where I don't feel like I can enjoy it. Solid 9.2. You guys absolutely killed it. Please make a sequel. Please write another book. I'll read it. I read the other one in like 3 days. I will read the next book. Let me read it. If you release it tomorrow, I'll be done with it by the end of the week, okay? I'll go out and get it right now.
Had the flex. Oh, I read the book in 3 days. Oh, whoa.
Okay, no, it's not a flex. It's a compliment to the story because for instance, I've started another book since then, and I'm like 30 pages in, and it still hasn't gotten to the juicy part of the story yet. But the book, very like the movie for this, just smacks you right off the bat and makes you pay attention, and just you have to be dove into this story. And that's what the book did. That's what the movie did. I love books like that. Ones that I'm 30 pages in going like, I'm going to end up reading like 300 pages tonight and not sleep.
Yeah. It was a good
I
movie.
love those.
I'm happy that we've gotten this genre of movie because I haven't gone to see a movie like this since, Fault in Our Stars when I was in middle school. And I was in middle school and the theater was packed.
Just crazy.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
The theater was so
John
packed.
Green movies.
When I went to go see Fault in Our Stars, I went to go see it with all of my friends. It was such a good time. And it was such a great movie, obviously. It's a cult classic. People watch it to this day. But man, like I feel like movies like this, it's either you go to watch this to either be like, okay, that was the worst thing I've ever seen, or it's the best thing I've ever seen, or it's somewhere in the middle and you're like, I enjoyed that. That was hilarious. So this movie for me checked all the boxes that I wanted it to check. It was a great time in the movie theater. Everybody enjoyed it. It was awesome to hear everybody like laughing. And it was like one of the first times in a while where I've heard people and myself just absolutely crack up at a one-liner. There was a couple of times where I was just dying laughing. I was like, I need to get together. This is hilarious. But yeah, it was a great movie.
Yeah. I only have one other request because you brought up The Fault in Our Stars. John Green is one of my all-time favorite authors. I have every book he's ever written. The Fault in Our Stars was amazing. If you haven't seen it yet, Looking for Alaska is on Hulu, and it'll crush you, but it's so good.
Wait, did he write Looking for Alaska?
Colleen Hoover and... Yeah, he did Looking for Alaska.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's such a good author. You have to check him out. And Hank Green, his brother, who's... I think now cancer-free. Great story as far as people go, as far as they're just great. My request is, John, Colleen, if you two could get together and co-write a book and movie script, it might be the best movie ever. I kind of need you to do it. So I know there's like no chance that the two of you like ever meet up and write this book, but I need it because John, I've actually gotten to meet you once. I came to your book tour. I got all your books signed. It was good. So if by some chance you stumble across this, for somebody that's been a fan since they were like 10 years old, if you could give her a call and be like, hey, we should do this, that would be awesome because that would be the ultimate combination for this. Regretting You smushed into The Fault in Our Stars. Yes,
yeah,
please.
That was good. I loved it. And I truly believe it gave us two actors that are going to be really great in the future. And all these performances were good. I've just got nothing bad to say about this movie. You're going to love it. If you went to go see this in the theaters, this is the type of movie where you could watch it anywhere. On a plane, in your living room, wait for it to come out on streaming. When it comes out on streaming, you know that's going to be number one. I guarantee you. We live in time.
100%
We
is.
live in time, for example, and We Live in Time was more emotional. Like that movie is heavy pretty much like all the time, and I watched that alone in the theater, and I mean that was it was a great performance from.
That's a tough watch alone.
Florence Pugh and Andrew
I'm proud of you,
Garfield,
but that was a
Florence
tough
Pugh and
watch.
Andrew Garfield gave a great performance. I loved it, but as soon as
This is why you love Florence Pugh so much. You saw her best movie
Yes.
ever.
yes, but overall, I mean, when this hits streaming and it goes on Netflix, or I think Netflix is gonna pick this up. Me personally. I
They
think
have
Netflix is
to.
going to pick this up, and then it's going to be
you gotta be
number
bidding
one.
for
is
it
gonna be
right now.
number one. It'll be top 5, maybe number 2, just because it'll probably come to streaming like around when Stranger Things comes out. So it'll be like number 2 probably when it comes to streaming. But no, this movie was awesome. I mean, it's definitely, if I had to give an honorary list for like top 10 movies of 2025, it's probably going to be, if not on the list, it's going to be right there. Because I loved this movie. It was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of, we haven't discussed it any, but now that you bring it up, keep an eye out. We're going to do our top 10 summer movies
We
soon.
keep on saying these things, but we're kind of just going on the fly. I think we should say...
I mean, we kind of are. But, you know, we've got things in the work. Like, for instance, our upcoming walking
my
series. He's going to have to move first. But
until January, so...
Right. It's a soft tease. It's a soft tease, Brett. It's fine. It's good. We're good. Keep an eye on upcoming things. We're going to do lots of exciting things. And thankfully, there's so many more good rom-coms coming up. And a couple of, like, psychotic
like
romances, like Housemaid with Sydney Sweeney, that also looks great. So thankfully, we've got so much more coming in this genre that we aren't hopefully going to have to wait the same time difference in between The Fault in Our Stars and Regretting You. We should hopefully have another banger before the end of the year or early next year.
I'm excited for the Andrew Garfield thriller that's coming out. Like the romance thriller that's coming out. I think that's just a thriller.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. Oh, my God. But whatever. We'll review it.
Me neither. We've seen the trailer too many times.
Cine-Files, because we just don't remember things. But anyways.
Yeah. Fake Cine-Files.
But anyways, it was a great movie. I had a great time in the theater. Any final thoughts, Gavin? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts, definitely read the book. Gives you a wildly different perspective from inside their heads. Only going to enhance the movie. And I don't give this advice lightly because I hate telling people to read the books and then go watch the movies because it's usually a disappointment. Go read the book.
Simple as that. Go read the book, lads. See you next time.